this house and all its memories. We just got too old to say
campus. Details at graduate.business.camden.rutgers.edu. And Delaware Nature Society, inviting you to get outside and enjoy the water at Wilmington's Urban Wildlife Refuge for biking, kayaking, and more. Delaware Nature Society, your source for local adventure since 1964.
And Here and Now's ongoing series of conversations with candidates for 2020. We'll hear from Miramar, Florida Mayor Wayne Messam, a Democrat running for president. That's still ahead this hour on Here and Now.
Supporting WHYY Fogo de Chao, where you can celebrate your grads with the help of celebration planners at Fogo de Chao Brazilian Steakhouse in Center City and King of Prussia. Reservations at fogo.com.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston. From Babbel, a language app that teaches real-life conversations in a new language, like Spanish, French, or German. Babbel's 10 to 15-minute lessons are available in the App Store or online at Babbel, BABBEL.com. And LegalZoom, offering legal advice and services for people and businesses with goals to be accomplished this year. LegalZoom has a network of independent attorneys that can help with legal needs. More information is at LegalZoom.com.
From NPR and WBUR, I'm Peter O'Dowd. This is Here and Now. The founder of a popular messaging app, Telegram, says China is responsible for a massive cyber attack that disrupted its services earlier this week. It came at a sensitive time. Protesters who've been clashing with police in Hong Kong have been using the app to communicate with each other. The protesters are upset about a bill that could allow criminal suspects to be extradited back to mainland China. Organizers are calling for more marches this Sunday. Robin Farzad is host of Public Radio's Full Disclosure. Robin, welcome.
Hello, Peter.
So this is an interesting tech angle to a story that we've been following for a while now, but just first remind us why there were so many people who are upset about this new law in Hong Kong.
Yeah, Hong Kong Street is in eruption because the Beijing-backed government there is trying to plow through legislation that for the first time allow extraditions to China, and protesters fear that could be used to snuff out any sort of government opposition. So the demonstrators, who've now numbered in the hundreds and hundreds of thousands, they stormed the legislative chamber on Wednesday, and all of this is happening exactly 30 years after Beijing cracked down in Tiananmen Square.
And as so often is the case these days, in a modern protest, people are using their phones, they're using social media, they're using these apps. So what was Telegram's role in these protests?
I mean, Telegram is fast, it's ubiquitous, it's anonymous, you talk about the network effects and everybody kind of signing up on this and being on it. Media, I think, has always been a lubricant for these kinds of upheavals. You could think back to the cassette tape sermons and the Iranian Revolution 40 years ago, or Twitter and the Arab Spring to start this decade. When you are Hong Kong protesters living in the shadow of China's huge surveillance state, you're naturally going to rely on encrypted messaging services like Telegram to avoid detection. So China knows that, and they want to crash those services.
Okay, so Telegram explained how the attack worked this way. I just read this thread on Twitter. In a sense, it says, imagine that an army of lemmings just jumped the queue at McDonald's in front of you, and each is ordering a Whopper. The server is busy telling the lemmings that they came to the wrong place because, of course, Burger King is where you get a Whopper. But there are so many of them that the server can't even see you to try to take your order. So that sort of explains what happened. I guess that makes it more clear. But how did they know it was the Chinese?
It's called analysis paralysis. The founder of Telegram, he explained on Twitter that these attacks had IP addresses coming mostly from China. I'm quoting him, historically all state actor-sized disruption of services of this size we experienced coincided in time with protests in Hong Kong, quoted on Telegram. This case was not an exception, close quote.
China says that it wants this law only to extradite criminals like rapists and murderers, but the protesters say don't trust China. Activists and journalists too. So if in fact this cyber attack originated in China, isn't that kind of proving the point that the Chinese are behind these things?
Well, yeah, I think you could say Beijing is both haunted and guided by its experience in Tiananmen Square 30 years ago. Yes, it was brutal. Yes, CNN and others had their cameras cut off. But the moral hazard is China now, its government, its economy, its world standing has since prospered, and its billion-plus population has largely remained dormant. So that's the foremost lesson for them.
And quickly, do you think they could do something, like WhatsApp in the U.S. if they wanted to, could they target those?
I have no doubt. I have no doubt between their dominance in hardware and what they do for internet service providers everywhere around the world, the chips they make for smartphones and networks, and the government very tightly aligned with national champions like Huawei. You look at the 2016 election here; it already demonstrated how vulnerable our social networks are to nefarious behavior by foreign players.
Robin Farzad, host of Public Radio's Full Disclosure. Thanks as always.
Take care here.
And you're listening to Here and Now.
Congressman James Clyburn is hosting presidential hopefuls in South Carolina this week. He says his fellow Democrats need to talk about race if they want to win.
It shouldn't be hard. The whole question of race, all might be hard. It's real.
Does frontrunner Joe Biden have support from black voters?
I told everybody months before that if he gets in, everybody else will be running for second place.
On the next morning edition from NPR News.
Tomorrow from 5 to 9 on WHYY.
I'm Steve Brown. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says President Trump doesn't know right from wrong and is, quote, indifferent to law and any sense of ethics about who we are as a country. A top House Democrat said Trump says he's open to accepting information from a foreign power against a political opponent. He's ignoring his oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution. Southwest Airlines is delaying expectations for return of the Boeing 737 MAX, which remains grounded after 2 deadly crashes. Southwest, which has 34 flights, suspects being sought in the shooting of former Red Sox superstar David Ortiz is believed to be the same man who's wanted by Pennsylvania authorities on the charge of attempted homicide. 31-year-old Luis Rivas Place is charged with an April 2018 shooting in Reading.
Here and Now continues on 90.9 WHYY, your NPR member station. It's 1:39. Good afternoon. I'm Dave Heller.
Supporting WHYY, Mainline Health. From hospitals to health centers, specialists to specialties, genes to generations, Mainline Health believes healthcare is human care, with locations across Chester, Delaware, and Montgomery counties. At Mainline Health, when you're at your most vulnerable, their team of doctors, nurses, and support staff goes out of their way to see you, all of you. Learn more at mainlinehealth.org/beseen. That's mainlinehealth.org/beseen.
Those showers have cleared out of our area, remaining cloudy this afternoon, high 72 degrees. Cloudy this evening, gradual clearing overnight, falling back to 59.
Funding for Here and Now comes from the listeners of WBUR Boston, where the program is produced, and your NPR station. From Noom, offering a personalized weight loss program that uses psychology, small goals, and technology designed